Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Thursday, July 4th. Happy July 4th to everybody. All I can continue to keep saying is be safe, have a great time with family and friends. If you have fireworks, don't let little kids handle them and don't let drunk adults. Not going to be a very long video this morning. Claude and I talked, and instead of, you know, taking today off and then working tomorrow, I give them the option. And since everybody that's with my family, they're busy doing other things, I opted to I'm going to work anyways Friday, but I'm going to go fishing tomorrow morning, first thing, for a couple hours. So that'll be my vacation. So, what are we going to be talking about today? Well, hang tight. Alright, so welcome back. My name is Eric, and this is the weekday, Thursday, July 4th. Even though it's a holiday, I try to put something out. And what I thought we talked today about is we continue to talk about tools because that seems to be something that is appealing to everybody, right? And you guys are giving me a lot of good points and good ideas in the comments and stuff. Keep it coming. Your thought on things is just as important as mine. I can give you my experiences, but what makes it a better conversation is if you're also adding yours. So maybe you've had really good luck with certain ones, like Tinker with the Walmart brands. There's nothing wrong with the Walmart brands. Harbor Freight has got three different name brands that they carry, but they're their own brands, but they come under different names. And how well would these hold up to like the do-it-yourselfer or the weekend warrior? I think they'd hold up pretty good because the battery revolution for hand tools has come a long ways. And DeWalt come out first with that. If you think back, remember we used to have the battery that was in the drill itself, and you plugged it in to charge it, and you might get a half an hour at most. And I can remember doing a roof job on the house, and between Claude and I, we had 4 drills, and we had to keep swapping drills about every half hour just to keep going. And now you look at what DeWalt has out there, and you're looking at 6-7 hour runtime on one of their longer, heavier batteries. And maybe 2.5, 3 on the smaller, low profile. So it all depends upon what you're doing with it. I don't have any sponsors. I don't. Not yet, anyways. So, what I'm telling you guys about my experiences, they are what they are. And it's my take and my view on how certain things have held up for the test of time. And we can date that back to where we really started getting serious with the small engine repair back in 2006. But this predates that, back to when I was a dairy farmer. And that's why I push a lot of Harbor Freight, because Harbor Freight is a working man's tool, right? Years ago when I was farming, I couldn't afford to go out and buy a Craftsman set or a Snap-on set or a Husky, Harbor Freight was affordable to me. And you could buy the sets, like with the quarter, 3/8, and half inch all together. Came in different boxes, 1/2 inch here, and 3/8 and then quarter. But it was affordable for somebody like me back then. And you're talking over 40 years ago. So my views when I'm telling you something about like what are the best tools out there, I'm going by what we've actually used in the shop for 5+ years and stood up to the test of time. Sound realistic? Now, the Walmart brand and the Harbor Freight brand, I think either would do well in someone's garage or small shop area. It's got to be something that's not being used a lot, okay? Because that I can't tell you over how long the battery life is, or if I had them in the shop, how well they'd hold up. And we tried some other different brands before we went and stuck to the DeWalt. And I've still got some of my older ones. But if I want to put my name behind it, that means it's something that we beat to heck. And like with the first 3/8 impact wrench we bought, I think was $219 without a battery. Without a battery. And the problem back then that a lot of people were having was the battery would run out before the tool would. You know, this is the early stages of the lithium ions. You know, you take it back 2006, 2005. And people were replacing the whole thing, buying it as a unit, because it was cheaper to do it that way than it was just to go out and buy a couple batteries or a battery, right? But we started off with, I think it was a complete set that came with the charger, and I want to say 2 batteries. And then when I bought the DeWalt impact wrench 3/8, that didn't come with a battery, but we already had 2 batteries and 1 charger in the shop for all the other tools, right? The drill, the reciprocating saw, sawzall, you know, there was a light that you had. But over the years, that has taken a lot of abuse, and it still stands tall. And the last one we had in the shop lasted 7 years, 6.5, 7 years, before it fell into a bucket of hydraulic fluid and sat there overnight. Yeah. Claude was asking me, have you seen my impact wrench? Did you borrow it? No, I ain't touched it. Well, come to find out, when he went to drain that oil to put back into the tractor, abracadabra, there it was. So we took the battery off from it. We took an air hose and blew out as much as we could and then just let it air dry. And about 2 days later, I got the nerve. I popped the battery into it. And didn't that sucker work? There you guys go for DeWalt. That's a good commercial, right? Did it work as good as it did before it went in? You'd think it would with more lubrication. Nah, she throw a little bit of sparks every so often. So I stepped out and I bought the second one for the shop. And in the meantime, in between that, I had already bought another one for the farm. And I still use the old one. It was in the hydraulic fluid out front. Like right now, I have my good one, my newer one, is in the tractor all the time now. And I have 2 spare batteries that I have with it. And for the disc mowers, you know, we have They call them turtles, and they have two blades. Well, that DeWalt 20 volt impact wrench will take the nut and bolt off the blade, put a new blade on, zip it down in less than a minute. And any of you guys out there that used to be farmers, remember the old sickle bars? Oh, what a pain in the backside. They were so hard to work on. A lot of times you're pulling the whole knives out, bent guards, everything else. I don't have that problem anymore. But I think that Walmart and Harbor Freight are another good go-to. I think Craftsman is putting out some quality stuff now. Again, it's DeWalt came with the firstest and the mostest, that were more geared towards the working man, the rougher that needed a drill to last and take abuse, or a sawzall, out on a construction site. And when they had the firstest with the mostest, the other ones were having issues with battery life, right? And the actual unit not lasting that long. Actually, the battery was outlasting the unit itself, And if I was just a weekend warrior or do it yourself, and I wanted to set up my garage into like a little shop area to work on my own lawn guard equipment and minor things on the car like oil change, changing the spark plugs, which has now become difficult in its own right? The newer ones, minor stuff, right? Any of those brands would work great for you, any of them. And you don't have to go out and buy top line just to buy top line. If you're looking for something that's going to last for a long period of time, then my take is the DeWalts. But you run the risk of having them become outdated because of technology, the way it's going, from the battery inside the handheld, you had to plug in the whole unit into the pistol grip, right? And charge that, and then use it for a while, and then put the whole unit back on charge. And then they went to the detachable ones that you slid on, and then you had a plug-in that went into the actual battery, and then from there it went to coming out with a physical charger with each battery having a certain way to go on to the charger. And I think that over the next 10 years you're going to see even more bigger advances. Claude's got the half-inch impact wrench from DeWalt. And I'll tell you, that'll take anything off that the air will. I'm telling you, that thing has got power. But again, it goes back to how big is your pocketbook and how often you're going to be using it. If you're running a shop where you're repairing stuff all day long, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, step up. Get something good. It's like I tell my son that also he turns wrenches for a living for Ford. And he buys all Snap-on. And if you're making a living with your tools, then Snap-on for many mechanics is the way to go. Plus the ease, the Snap-on dealer makes it too easy. They show up once a week and they'll put it on account and you just pay your account back. And if something is broke, they don't question it, they just swap it out. So the Snap-on dealership in our area anyways is pretty attentive to the mechanics at all the garages. They hit Chevy, Ford, right around the loop. They've stopped at our shop, but I'm like, I can't afford that. And eat at the same time. All right, so I'm going to start wrapping this up. again, I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July and just stay safe. You know, if you're going to drink, there's nothing wrong with drinking, just don't drive. Fireworks, if you've got the real deal stuff, make sure it's a sober adult and the kids are all back so that nobody gets hurt. It's kind of how I run my shop. Is a good day is when everybody comes out with all their fingers and toes, right? And every year we hear about somebody blowing off a hand or something like that because they didn't get rid of something and they lit it. And most of the time they were under the influence of something. So what I want you to do and what I'm going to ask you to do is I want your opinion. I value your opinion just as much as maybe you value mine. Probably even more. But I want to hear from you guys. What's working for you? What's worked for you? And which ones didn't work or hold up? And how much do you use them? Are you a do-it-yourselfer, a weekend warrior? Nights and weekends, try to start a business? You don't have to be a repairman or a mechanic. You can be a roofer, construction. What tools are you using on a regular basis? And how well are they holding up? So on that note, you guys have a great 4th of July. Put it in the comment, guys. I'm serious. I want to know. Because I may even invest in some of the tools that you are presently using that, would help me out. On that note, you guys have a great 4th of July, and we'll see you here bright early tomorrow morning. Thanks so much for watching.